So you're thinking about moving to Kaysville, Utah. You want to know what the pros are and most importantly, what the cons are or the bad things about living in Kaysville. Well, that's what I'm going to cover right now. So let's get started. Con number one of living in Kaysville is our high real estate prices. And the best way for me to talk about that is just to show you what the newest prices are right now in Kaysville. So let's jump over to my website right now and take a look. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Greg Spackman. I am a licensed real estate agent in the state of Utah. So if you're thinking about making that move here to Utah, to Kaysville, or any city in Utah, please reach out to me and my team. We'd love to help you find that perfect place to call home. If you're, going to be moving in 6 months or 6 days, we can help you no matter what. So please reach out to us. Now let's keep going on the video. All right, so here we have my website open. First listing, we sorted by newest because that's the best way for you to look, even if you're not looking on my website, thespackmangroup.com. But there are 59 homes for sale in Kaysville currently, sorting by newest. 5-bedroom, 4-bath, 3,600 square foot is about $800,000. That seems to be what the norm is, roughly right around that price for that square footage. Here's a 4.3. with 2,200 square feet, so it's going to be quite a bit smaller for $529. Here's a mobile home. So they have some mobile homes, $159 for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, $1,600. Here is a 4.3, 3,000 square foot for $520. Here's a 6.4, 5,200 square foot, $1.1. And as I scroll down here, you're going to just see most of the homes. Here's a 4.2 for $439, but you're looking at least $500,000 minimum to get a 4-bedroom, 3-bath home in Kaysville. Like here's a 5.2, 2,100 square foot for $479. Here's a 4.3, 2,500. So this would be like your average home in Kaysville, something along those lines. So when you want something newer like this home, $1.1 million. Here's a 3.2, 1,600 square foot, $475. Let's see if we can find another. Here's a 735 4.3, 3,500 square foot, $735. So what that basically told me is you're going to need to spend somewhere in the $500 to $800 range to get a 4-bedroom, 3-bath-ish home and around 3,000 square feet. Now you can definitely spend more than that, and that just gets you more square footage, nicer upgrades, probably a bigger backyard. Maybe it's flat. But the cheaper home prices you see in Kaysville are going to be closer to the freeway, so it's going to be noisier. There are advantages because you can get on the freeway faster. And so that's what you're looking at in Kaysville as far as real estate goes. My first pro on the list is the location and where Kaysville sits on the map in relation to Salt Lake City and Provo, Utah. So the best way to do that is for me to open up the map and show you that now. All right, so here we have Kaysville. You can see highlighted here in red. Kaysville is located in Davis County, and it's north of Salt Lake City and north of Provo, of course. It is bordered by Layton to the north, Fruit Heights to the east, and Farmington to the south. It's about, a 20-minute drive. Let me scroll out so you can see. It's about a 20-minute drive down I-15 to Salt Lake City. It's about a 25-minute drive down I-15 over here to the airport. And the airport is awesome. If you haven't been to the Salt Lake City airport, you will enjoy it because it's a great airport. One of the best airports that I've flown in and out of in the U.S. And I absolutely love picking people up at the airport. It is really easy to do that. It is 45 minutes out to Park City. And it is the nearest ski resort that you can get to is Snow Basin, which is about 28 minutes away. You can ski and snowboard there on like about 106 trails. So it's a great ski resort for you to go to. Pine View Reservoir is 40 minutes away. Willard Bay is 28 minutes. I can show you where those are. So this is Pine View. This is Pine View here. And then Willard Bay is right up here. So, and you're located here. So you have those. So if you want any sort of water sports, skiing and water skiing, jet skiing, playing in the water, you have those available to you, plus a number of other reservoirs. Utah has a ton of places for you to go, boating and all of that. But if you want to fish and camp and all of that, tons of that up by you, which is super nice that it's all that is super close. One cool place you can go and visit, and that's called Antelope Island. I highly recommend that you go and do it. That's this island here. And so there is a road that goes out this way to it. They have a center there that you can go to where they talk all about Antelope Island, and that's where my son Chase got his little buffalo that he still has. They absolutely loved going on the island and driving around and seeing the buffalo on the island. So hopefully that gave you a little bit of an idea of where Kaysville is on the map and everything. You're about 45 minutes also to Provo if you need to go down that way. But it's super cool if you want to be on the north side of Salt Lake. It really just depends. And most of the people that we help relocate here, they'll want to check out the Kaysville area just around it. And then they want to check out down south of Salt Lake and west of Salt Lake. So they'll check out West Jordan, South Jordan, Harriman, Draper. And then we get into Utah County where we're looking at Saratoga Springs and Lehigh, and that really just depends on where you're going to be working, what fun things you want to be able to do. And that's something that we talk about with you where we make sure that you end up in the right city so you don't end up in the wrong city and purchasing a home and then wanting to sell it in a year or two because everything that you want to go do is in a different location. Con number 2 of living in Kaysville is the weather. And while this can also be a pro, it definitely is a pro for my wife because she loves having all 4 seasons. I really like California seasons where it's one season, it's just awesome. And here we get all 4. So you get a true spring, a true summer, where summer will get in the 90s and 100s. Typically it's 100 degrees for a week or two in the summer, which is okay. And then it's in the 90s the rest of the time. And I really like once it hits about 6, 7 p.m. at night during the summer because it's still 80 plus degrees. And so just relaxing outside feels really, really nice in the shade or while the sun's going down. It's awesome to be outside, and you can go hiking and fishing and camping and everything you want to go do outdoors. You can do here in Utah, pretty much all over Utah. Just, it's awesome. The summer is a little bit more mild in Kaysville than in other areas. West Jordan is one of the hotter cities, or West Valley City. Anything kind of like west of Salt Lake City is a little bit warmer than the ones that are closer to the mountains. So Kaysville is kind of in between, and it has a little bit of a Great Salt Lake effect to it where it's not as hot. It gets about 50 inches of snow in the wintertime, so if you want a snowblower, you definitely will be able to use it, but it's not really necessary. You can still shovel your driveway or pay one of the neighborhood kids to come and shovel your driveway and keep it nice. One thing a neighbor told us about when we moved here is salt, and we didn't ever need salt before. Didn't need it in California, didn't need it in Tennessee, but here it works really, really good. So I highly recommend that you get a bag or two of salt every wintertime and just sprinkle that around your walkways and your steps and keep that nice and salted. So that way you won't slip and fall. And it just means you're not walking in the snow, but you can chuck a handful of it and it melts all the snow within a little while. And that's super awesome. Pro number 2 of living in Kaysville. This is something I can't speak to personally because we haven't lived in Kaysville, though my brother-in-law currently lives in Kaysville. So he has a daughter in school, and the schools are amazing in Kaysville. They have some of the highest rated schools in the state of Utah that are in Kaysville. And that was one of the things when we relocated from Tennessee to Utah, we looked at Kaysville for the schooling and everything, and we almost moved there just because of that. But the schooling is really, really highly ranked. And let's look at great schools real quick, and then I'm going to cover the schools a little bit more in my next pro and con in just a minute. Here I am on great schools. Here are the elementary schools. They are all 7s on this list. Their middle schools are 8, 7, 6, and 2. So I'm not sure what the academy one is. And then high schools, Davis is a 7, and 3, 3, and 1. And one of the things that hurts Utah schools for their rankings and ratings that you see online is the diversity factor. And just because of what the ethnic background is in the entire state for the most part. That hurts their scores because they rank it based on all the different ethnicities. So they want it to be more spread out. And so that lowers the rankings when you start looking into academics, which is, I guess, what matters most as a parent for me is what are the academics of the school, because you can't really fix the diversity factor of it at all. But the schools are all really good as far as that goes in the state of Utah. So next up is a pro and a con, and that's the rankings of Kaysville. So we're going to go through those right now. All right, here we have niche.com loaded and Kaysville pulled up. It is the #1 best suburb to buy a home in Utah. So that's the entire state. They rank it the best. Overall, it gives it an A for public schools, an A- for housing, A good for families, which I have heard that it's a great place. And like I said, my brother-in-law lives there and absolutely loves living in Kaysville. A for jobs, the proximity to Salt Lake City is awesome. C for cost of living, which we covered real estate prices, so you can see that. A for outdoor activities, you are super close to doing tons of outdoor activities, so it's really highly rated there. B, crime and safety, B- nightlife. I would say nightlife really is much lower than that, more like a C- because it's more of a bedroom community and it doesn't really have a lot of nightlife to it. B- diversity, B for weather, A+ health and fitness, and a B+ for commute. And since it's not so far north in Salt Lake, the further north you go, when you get into Layton and Ogden, and then you're commuting into Salt Lake, you get more and more traffic. So I think that's why the commute is B+. And like I said, it's not bad for traffic going to Kaysville. Every time we drive up there to visit, it takes us 45 minutes or so to drive from where we are in Harriman. They say about 32,000 people live there. They say the median home price is $410. It's more like $500, I think. Now, here's more rankings. Best suburb to buy a house in Utah, #1. Best suburb to live in Utah, #2. And the best suburb to raise a family in, #2. So that's why it's super highly ranked. Here's your crime and safety stats. You can see it's below the national average on everything. And so that's awesome. And then their schooling, here's some of their schools that they show on their list. And so that covers the rankings. I would say it's more of a pro than a con as far as the rankings go. It really just depends on what you're after, and that's what we'll talk about. Con #4 is the limited nightlife, and really it's poor nightlife that is in Kaysville. So you're going to really need to go into Salt Lake for any sort of nightlife. If you want clubs and bars and that sort of thing, you're going to have to go into Salt Lake City. There's a few little places that you can go and get your drink on, but it's nothing like what you're going to get in Salt Lake. And that is really, I don't know if it's a con because, going into Salt Lake makes it kind of fun, but you're going to have to take a little bit longer Uber ride, I guess, in there if you're going to be drinking. Pro #4 of living in Kaysville is the downtown. And the downtown in Kaysville is super cool. It has the Kaysville movie theater. It has the local Bowman's Market. It has Ray's Shoe Repair and Mike's Old Time Barbershop are all on Main Street. And then you have Street Lube and Oil. So you definitely should take a cruise down the main street of Kaysville. It's super neat. And it's great that it has its own downtown, I guess. It's not super large and it's not as fantastic as some other downtowns, but it has a downtown. Con #5 of living in Kaysville is the traffic from Salt Lake and to Salt Lake during the rush hour times. And that's where you're going to run into your extra 10 to about 40 minutes of traffic than if you're doing it at, say, 9 p.m. at night or 4 in the morning. Everything is super quick during those times. You just add that extra time into your drive. Pro #5 is the Kaysville fishing pond. So if you're a fisherman like myself, I love going fishing. They have some cool ponds that you can catch a number of different types of fish in, and they have it in Kaysville. Pro #6 of living in Kaysville, Utah is the mountain views are amazing. Well, the mountain views are awesome everywhere. Kaysville has a different, I guess, mountain range that you're looking at than, say, what I look at from outside my house. It is super beautiful to see and just awesome. It doesn't feel real a lot of the times when you're looking at it. It feels like, you're looking at a fake thing. It like almost like a snow globe, I guess, but it's awesome. And right now we're starting to get colder weather, snow, so the mountains are changing again from what they were this past summer. Pro number 7 of living in Kaysville is your entertainment in Kaysville and nearby. So in Kaysville, you have a place called Boondocks, and we've been there and played mini golf. The last time that we went there, my wife and I tied, so we have to go back and play another round. And my brother-in-law lives walking distance from that, so we've been a couple times to Boondocks when we've been over visiting. And then the lagoon is awesome, and that's about 10-minute drive away to the south. So you can check out what the lagoon is, but it's awesome. So those are my pros and cons of living in Kaysville, Utah. And if I can help you in any way, please reach out to me. We'd love to talk to you about Kaysville or other cities here in the Salt Lake City metro area. So until next time, be rad.